people who joined in the Zoom meeting, and my respectful for the Lord Sri Krishna and Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudharayet. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकीम् Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Today I am reading the translations from Canto 6, Chapter 14, Canto 6, Prescribed Duties for Mankind, Chapter 14, King's Chitraketu's Lamentation. I'm starting from the first sloka, text 1 to 12. So I'm reading from the text 1. King Parikshit inquired from Sukadev Goswami, O learned Brahmana, demons are generally sinful, being obsessed with the modes of passion and ignorance. How then could Vitrasur have attained such exalted love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana? Text 2. Sloka 2. Demigods situated in the mode of goodness, and great saints cleansed of the dirt of material enjoyment hardly ever render pure devotional service at the lotus feet of Mukunda. Therefore, how could Vristasur have become such a great devotee? Sloka 3. In this material world, there are as many living entities as atoms. Among these living entities, a very few are human beings, and among them, few are interested in following religious principles. Text 4. O best of the Brahmanas, Sukadev Goswami, out of many persons who follow religious principles, only few desire liberation from the material world. Among many thousands who desire liberation, only one may actually achieve liberation. Giving up material attachment to society, friendship, love, country, home, wife, and children. And among many thousands of such liberated persons, only one can understand the true meaning of liberation is very rare. Text 5. O great sage, among many millions who are liberated and perfect in knowledge of liberation, one may be a devotee of Lord Narayana or Sri Krishna. Such devotees who are fully peaceful are extremely rare. Text 6. Rudrasur was situated in the blazing fire of battle and was an infamous, sinful demon, always engaged in giving troubles and anxieties to others. How could such a demon become so greatly Krishna conscious? Text 7. My dear Lord, Sukadev Goswami, although Vritrasur was a sinful demon, he showed the powers of the most exalted Kshatriya and satisfied Lord Indra in battle. How could such a demon be a great devotee of Lord Sri Krishna? These contradictions have caused me great doubt, and they have made me eager to hear of this from you. Text 8. Sri Suta Goswami said, after hearing Maharaj Parikshit's very intelligent question, Sukadev Goswami, the most powerful sage, began answering his disciple with great affection. Text 9. Sri Sukadev Goswami said, O king, I shall speak to you the same history I have heard from the mouths of Vyasadeva, Narada, and Devala. Please listen with attention. Text 10. O King Parikshit, in the province of Surasena, there was a king named Chitraketu who ruled the entire earth. During his reign, the earth produced all the necessities for life. Text 11. This Chitraketu had 10 million wives, but although he was capable of producing children, he did not receive a child from any of them. By chance, all the wives were barren. Textual. Chitraketu, the husband of these millions of wives, was endowed with a beautiful form, magnanimity, and youth. He was born in a high family, he had a complete education, and he was wealthy and opulent. Nevertheless, in spite of being endowed with all these assets, he was full of anxiety because he did not have a son. Thank you, Hare Krishna devotees.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kiran Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Yeah, whenever you're ready, Rasa Chandrika Mataji, please go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity to share my understanding on Bhagavatam. So, as Prabhuji said, that we are reading Canto 6, we are on chapter number 14. I hope my screen is visible, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji, we can see it.
So, we'll start with short prayers and then we'll start reading from text number 1. ॐ अज्ञानं तिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमतिभक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्याधीशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. The chapter number 14 is called as King Chitraketu's Lamentation. And the previous chapter was called as Indra afflicted by sinful reaction. So to just go a little bit recap, we saw in the previous chapters that Lord Indra was able to kill Vritrasura. Vritrasur, we saw, showed a lot of devotion and much more faith in Lord as compared to King Indra at that time, which was quite bewildering. And in King Indra was finally able to king Vritrasur under his guidance only. And after that, King Indra was really scared that this was a very good devotee, very good Vaishnava. He had already seen how much he had to go through when he had killed Vishwarupa, who was again a Brahmana, and now he had killed a Vaishnava. So he was very scared that now he might have to go through more severe penances. After which he was pacified by other saintly people over there. And in the last chapter, we see that they conducted a yagya, out of which all his sinful reactions were banished. But this question is a very common, general question that can arise to us. It arose to me when I was reading, like, how is Vritrasur talking like a devotee when you know that he's a demon? So here we are setting up a basis in this chapter because we are beginning it for Chitraketu Maharaj. So here, after all, listening to all these incidences about how Vritrasur was killed, King Parikshit Maharaj, as any other person would have questioned for our benefit, that, O learned Brahmana, demons are generally sinful, being obsessed with the mode of passion and ignorance. Then how can Vitrasur have so much love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead? So this is very common understanding, and Prabhupada also explains us that the demons generally are having high of passion and ignorance. When you are high in passion and ignorance, having bhakti is very, very difficult. You're not even in the mode of goodness, let alone bhakti is even higher than that. So, how is a person who is so much into passion and ignorance can become a devotee? Here in Bhagavad Gita only, Krishna says in verse number 7.28, which Prabhupada is giving example in the purport also, Yesham tav antagatam papam. So what does that mean? That means a person who has always acted piously and all his sinful activities have been completely eradicated and has become completely pure. Only that is the person who can attain bhakti and come back to me. So here, a person who's a demon, how come his sinful activities have been eradicated? So this is a very common question that can come to our mind. Moving on to verse number 2, it continues that even the demigods who are situated in the mode of goodness is higher than passion and ignorance. Even they like are not able to render loving devotional service to Krishna. Then how is Vritrasur able to do this? It is very bewildering. Again, we can go back to the narration of how Vritrasur used to look like, and it was said that he had a very dark complexion, like black skin, and he had a very copper colored eye and hair, and he looked ferocious, scary. And in Shastra, we also learn that generally devotees are very good looking because they've had such pious deeds. And this is the reason why they are good looking. Here, his looks are completely contrary. It's opposite. So obviously, he's a very good demon. Then second thing is, when you have done bhakti a little bit in your life, you are to fulfill the rest remaining. You are given an opportunity to take birth in a house of Suchi or Srimad, a person who are already exalted in bhakti and a Srimad family. But again, we see Vritrasur was not from that kind of family, because all the characteristics that he showed were completely demoniac. And he is now talking like a devotee. A very big question mark was there for Parikshit Maharaj's understanding. We go on to the next verse. We will try to combine verse number 3, 4 a little bit together. So in verse number 3, it is said that we have to imagine now a little bit to understand verse number 3 and 4. Here, from one of the references from Subodhini, I understood that in this material world, we see there are a lot of living entities, like small atoms. You will see animals are there, microorganisms are there. So there is a vast quantity of living entities. So we already know that there are 84 lakh or 8.4 billion uh, categories of living entities. So it's a very huge circle, and out of that, only few humans are the ones who are following dharma. So first of all, out of so many living entities, there are few humans, and that is technically 4 lakh categories of human. And out of those 4 lakh, only few are following dharma. Not everybody is onto the path of dharma. And out of many persons who follow dharma, only few desire liberation, because many people are into sense gratification, or interested in going to higher planetary system to enjoy more, further enjoyment. But out of that, only few are desiring liberation. They might even not know the entire concept of liberation, but they're still interested in liberation because they're fried of all this material miseries. So the next thing that is very attractive is like, oh, let's get mukti, liberation. Then we'll have to have no sufferings. And very few of those. And out of those people who desire liberation, one may actually attain liberation. Further, it is stated that among those people who attain liberation also, there only few might understand the true meaning of liberation. Right? So, and in that also, out of those people also who are attaining liberation by knowledge, and perfect knowledge, one devotee, there may be only one devotee out of all that lot who is a devotee of Narayana or Krishna. And such devotees are very peaceful and extremely rare. In Bhagavad Gita also, 7.19, we find Bhunam Janmanamante Gyanavam Mam Prapadyate Vasudevam Sarvamiti Sumahatma Su Durlabha. A very durlabh to get such people who are surrendered to Krishna, who know who is Krishna. These kind of devotees are very, very rare. You don't find them on in extents. So just on this concept only, moving on to verse number 5. Verse number 5 will be the important verse today for reading aspects. It's a lengthier purport, but if devotees have time, reading this is quite beneficial. So in verse number 5, here it is said that so many people are there, but only few are becoming Krishna's devotee, and it is so rare. Here it is explained. Prabhupada has given us so many examples in this verse, stating how only few people are allowed as in have the karmas to know Krishna. It's like from 9.11, avajananti mam moda. Here Krishna himself is saying that fool deride me when I descend in the human form. So people who don't want to understand Krishna, Krishna never allows them to understand him. Right? So there are not many people available who are interested in knowing about Krishna. And then again, Prabhupada is explaining about verse number 9.12 from Bhagavad Gita, Mogasha Moga Karmanu, where those who are thus bewildered are attracted by demoniac views. So people generally who are bewildered, who are not understanding Krishna, are generally attracted to more of demoniac propensities. So all in all, getting a good quality of devotee, good also in number, is very, very difficult. Here, I was just thinking, what are the things that we need to know to become a devotee? So just trying to understand and collect points from a couple of lectures. I understood that a person who is being a devotee will have the first characteristic as understanding the nature of this material world. Understanding the nature of where you live is very important to further progress in your process of bhakti. A devotee will always know that this place is temporary. This place is, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, it is Dukhalayam or Shashvatam. A places of Dukha, misery, or Shashvatam, it's temporary. This is not the real place where a devotee belongs. A devotee belongs with Krishna, serving Krishna in the form of a das. So then the devotee first realizes what is this nature of material world, because we do get bewildered with this material world. Sometimes we get some happiness and we're like, okay, I'm going to work more hard every single day so that one day for 5 minutes I will get this happiness. Right? This, if you see from a larger perspective, it is a very foolish attitude. And this is why Prabhupada used to call us asses, as in donkeys, who keep on working to one day attain happiness in form of sprinkles for 5 minutes. So the devotee will first understand the nature of this material world. Then what other thing a devotee needs to do? Then the devotee understands the advanced knowledge. And what is that knowledge? That knowledge is to realizing your constitutional position, that you are das, and that you have to go back to Godhead. The body that we have been given is mercy of Krishna, and it has to be used as a vehicle to go back to Krishna. So these are the points that a devotee will understand. Unfortunately, in the material world, not everybody is able to understand this thing. Then a person is a devotee is able to understand the varnashram dharma very properly. He is able to understand not that generally nowadays in material world, the moment people are born, they are grihasthas, they die grihasthas. There is no proper etiquette of following the varnashram system very nicely. So a devotee will understand the importance of vanaprastha, and then concluding to sannyasa. So he will understand how he has to go back to Godhead. The process is already given, prescribed to us by Krishna. And here, Prabhupada has explained one point when I was thinking about these Varnashram system is very important to progress towards bhakti. Prabhupada mentioned over here in the purport that only desiring sannyas does not makes one person sannyasi. And when I read this, I could think about, yeah, the examples like Shobari Muni. He tried so hard, he worked so hard, but just because of little bewilderment, just by looking at the fishes, he got distracted from the entire bhakti process that he had already done. Right? So this material world is something that will pull you back. So just because you desire, I have to take sannyas, you can't easily take it. No doubt, Sobari Muni was a great devotee, but still the process is very tough. Then I could also think of Vishwamitra. He also had, during his tapasya, he had multiple fall downs. And that was all because of Indriya, matlab, senses. Sometimes he was getting bewildered by the noise, sometimes bewildered by his desire, sexual propensity. So this is why we had fall down. Fall downs happen due to the women or the material attachment that is there in this material world. So just desiring, let's take sannyas, does not help you to just become a sannyasi. For that, a proper etiquette of loving devotional service needs to be followed. Prabhupada has explained in this verse number 5, that there are two type of gyanis. So one gyani is the impersonalist. He is basically, Prabhupada is giving the example of husking the paddy with no grains. It doesn't make sense, right, to husk a field which has no grains. But that is the kind of work an impersonalist will do. This is the first kind of gyani. Having a little bit gyan, but in wrong direction. And the other kind of gyani is doing devotional service. And in this devotional service also there are two further categories. One person is getting devoted to false form of Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the other person is getting devoted to the actual form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is Krishna Vishnu. Right? So the people who are getting attracted to the false form of Supreme Personality of Godhead, what do they think? They think that these are Mayavadi people, and they think that Vishnu got his body from Maya, which is not the fact. But this is because of the bewilderment. You know, eventually, after a few more births, they are able to come to bhakti. But at that very time, when they are Mayavadis, this is their understanding. So, this is the category Prabhupada is explaining, that in devotional service also, it is not easy. It's not like, oh, okay, I'll do devotional service, not a big deal. It is a big deal because you have to understand the crux of it, that what is your personal position and who is Krishna. That I am Anu and Krishna is Vibhu. This point needs to be soaked in. Then in this verse, fifth verse only in the translation, Prabhupada has mentioned one line which was very, very enlightening. There are 90 million demigods and 70 million sages who are called as Narayanaya, devotees of Lord Narayan. Among them, only a few are called as Parayana. Narayan Parayana are actual devotees with loving relationship, loving exchange with Krishna. So out of so many, 90 million demigods and 70 million sages, still there are only few who are having loving devotional service. So why are we talking about this? Trying to understand that such a rare people will only be able to understand the nature of Krishna. And how was Vritrasura on this side able to understand Krishna when he's exactly on the opposite side of the coin? Moving on to verse number 6. In verse number 6 and 7, we will go on this together. Here, it is stated that demons are infamous, like they're not famous. You know, nobody will grow up and keep their kids' name, or you will be named as Vritrasu. He's a demon, or nobody will name, oh, you're going to be Ravana. No, always go for Rama, right? Krishna, Vasudeva, because they are infamous. Such kind of personality is not lovingly accepted in the society. Why? Because they give anxiety to everybody, right? They give anxiety to the demigods, they give anxiety to the living entity. And Vritrasura had given intense anxiety to the Devi Devatas already. Then how can he be a devotee, let alone great devotee? There's two different things again. Different kind of adhikaris in devotions also. We have learned about Kanishta, Madhyam, Uttama. But here he was questioning, how is he Uttam? Let alone Kanishta, or he should not even be Kanishta, but how is he Uttam? Because he was a demon. Then in verse number 8 and 9, after hearing to all these questions patiently, it is Sutavacha, sorry, it's Sutavacha. He is going to continue. So here what it is said, that I am, they say that I am going to narrate you the story that I have heard from Narad Muni, Devala, Vyasadev. So you see, anything that our Shastra provides are always in the line of the disciplic succession. People don't make stories out of whims, anything here and there. No, stories are always passed into the form of Shruti or Smriti in the disciplic succession that is provided to us. So here the narration of the story is also going to come as per the narration which was previously given by Vyasadeva, Narad Muni and Devala. Same story is going to come. So now Sukadev Goswami goes on to speaking. And now he is speaking in verse number 9 over here. And okay. Verse number 9, he specifies whom he heard this from, and he asks him to listen to the story very carefully, and he starts with verse number 10. Today I have to do only till verse number 12, but now we are setting the basis for Chitraketu Maharaj. Here he says, in the province of Surasena, in this kingdom, there was a king, and his name was Chitraketu, who ruled the entire earth. During his reign, the earth produced all necessities of life. And now, this line itself, during his reign, the earth produced all necessities of life, itself declares what a good and a pious devotee also Chitraketu Maharaj was. He was a very good king. Right? In fourth canto itself, we read about Prithu Maharaj. Because of some people who were exploiting Mother Earth, Mother Earth had stopped giving benefits to the society, right? There was no grain, there was no milk, there was no enough production because there was exploitation. That does not mean Prithu Maharaj was exploiting, but other people. But here it is said that Chitraketu Maharaj during his reign, earth produced everything. Whenever there is piety, whenever there is dharma followed, earth is reciprocating to that. And earth provides you with everything. Who is giving this earth this power to provide everything? Krishna, that we get from Ishopanishad, Ishavashamidam Sarvam. Everything comes from me. So here Krishna was very happy with the way Chitraketu Maharaj was ruling the kingdom province of Surasena. So the supply itself the term supply, that everything was supplied very nicely itself shows that what a good quality of a devotee he was. In this, Prabhupada has given examples also that Prithu Maharaj was a great ruler, and then Yudhishthir Maharaj was great ruler. There was a time when during the reign of Maharaj Yudhishthir, the clouds showered all the water that people needed, and the earth produced all the necessities of men in profusion. So this is not because of anything else, but the kind of the leader there is. So that goes to saying that Chitraketu Maharaj was also a very good leader. Moving on to verse number 11 and 12, we will try to conclude it together. In 11 and 12, we see that Chitraketu Maharaj had 10 million wives. Yeah. And although he was capable to produce children, unfortunately, he had none. 10 million, it was very bewildering number. Yeah. To have 10 million wives, about 1 crore wives. So why did he have that? After he had first wife, and he did not get a child out of her, he kept marrying again and again and again and again. And that way he reached to the number 10 million. So you see, he's such a great king. We just learned, everything is there in surplus, and the earth is very happy, and the kingdom is very happy. All material opulences, you say, you name it, it is there. He's having so many wives also. Man is still not happy, which we will learn after in the next class. The man is still not happy after having so many material opulence also. When I was reading this puppet is very small. I was like, what is the point? Still, there is no satisfaction. Why? Because this is material world. A person in material world will always hanker for something he does not have. There's no attention paid to what you have. But I don't have this. Here, Chitraketu Maharaj did not have son. not even one. Out of having 1 crore, 10 million wives, none son. And here, Prabhupada specifies that Chanakya Pandit says, Putram hinam griham shunyam. If a family man has no son, his home is no better than a desert. So this is why we see this king, King Chitraketu, was most upset, very morose, did not see any happiness around, and was in constant anxiety. This after having everything, the biggest issue of his life was to not have any son. So why he had no son? The basic one line understanding is whatever you get in this life is as per the prarabdha you have done in your previous life. And we will still read this further from verse number 13, 14 tomorrow onwards and get into the depths of it. But your doings, your karmas affect what you get in your next life. So what you're doing right now, you're writing a script down for your next life. So, which for the life that we are leading right now, we have already written the script. And obviously, it's not a good script, is the reason why we are still on this material planet. And this is why we have to surrender ourselves to bhakti and at finally realize it's long enough that we need to go back to Krishna. I'll end my discussion over here, pause my voice here. Hare Krishna. Dhanapranam.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.